According to the book The Search for King Solomon's Treasure, the Philippines is Ophir, Tarshish, Havilah, Sheba, Seba, and the Garden of Eden is located beneath the floor of the Sulu Sea near to Bataha Reef. But is any of that true? The answer is no, and the author, Timothy Jay Schwab of the God Culture, does a horrible job at trying to prove his case, which he claims no one can disprove. I have written at great length about the contents of this book, but in this video I will only be offering a brief analysis of its numerous problems. I will add links to all my in-depth critiques in the description of the video. The problems can be narrowed down to 3: bad writing, bad attitude, and bad history. Despite The Search for King Solomon's Treasure being a book about the history of the Philippines, Timothy Jay Schwab mentions Oprah Winfrey as well as Mark Zuckerberg, falsely claiming he is a descendant of the Rothschilds. The book also tells us twice that the leader of the God Culture is a Native American, which drives home the point that the God Culture is a cult and the book is nothing but propaganda. Imagine writing a history book and talking about your leader. None of that has anything to do with the subject matter at hand. The word choices are also rather strange. This is not the proper way to use Haggard, and this is a very clunky sentence. The bad writing in this book also extends to the bad attitude. A bad attitude permeates every single page of The Search for King Solomon's Treasure. All throughout the book, Tim claims that he is right and the scholars who have studied the Bible, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the books of Enoch and Jubilees, and the Philippines are all wrong. Not only are they wrong, but they are propagandists working for the Rothschilds or the British or some other nefarious group whose goals is to hide the true history of the Philippines. Scholars have the wrong paradigm, but Tim is working from the right frame of mind. Nearly every single page is dripping with invective. Such ad hominem attacks have no place in a history book. That brings us to the bad history. I really do recommend reading my in-depth articles about the bad history in this book, as there is simply too much to cover in a brief video. To put it bluntly, this book is filled with errors and flat-out lies. These errors and lies include Filipinos and Greeks circumnavigating Africa to trade with each other. There is no record in all of antiquity of a trade route circumnavigating Africa. Antonio Pigafetta claiming to have seen elephants in the Philippine Islands. He actually saw them in Borneo. That Fernando Pinto located the Lequois Islands at 9 and 20. He located them at 29 north. That no one knows why the city of Cebu is nicknamed the Queen City of the South. It's a name they took from Iloilo, which was bestowed by the Queen of Spain. And that there is residual ancient Hebrew in Philippine place names. Tim spends a whole chapter interpreting various place names in the Philippines by breaking them down into Hebrew compound words. On what basis, you might ask? How exactly does he know these are Hebrew compound words? He does not tell us. He makes it all up. He has even admitted he does not speak Filipino and he is not a linguist.
You speak the language there yet?
No.
No.
Yeah. Because the predominant language is English. Oh, it's an odd language, and it's hard for me to pick up, to be honest. So I only pick up a few words here and there. My wife is actually from the northern part of the Philippines, and it's called Ilocos, and she speaks Ilocano, another dialect. There's over 1,000 dialects. So I give up. The actual written language is called Babayin, and it's actually very similar to Hebrew in the letters, and even some of the shapes of the letters are kind of fascinating. But that's not something we can really prove. We're not linguists. We can't go that far.
If he does not speak Filipino and he is not a linguist, how is anyone supposed to trust his interpretation? By admitting he does not speak Filipino and that he is no linguist, he is admitting that he is not to be trusted as regards linguistics. The fact of the matter is, The Search for King Solomon's Treasure is an amateur book written by an amateur armchair archaeologist who refuses to do any real archaeology. Tim's training is not as a scholar in ancient languages or texts, but as a publisher of high-end luxury magazines. He has no idea what he is talking about, and that is abundantly clear on every single page of The Search for King Solomon's Treasure.